Let's start the show. Wow. I don't feel myself today.
Hello there. What's happening over there? Without... Oh, God, it's moving. It's not coming over here. No, it's not. It almost got me.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's
How about
Torn
that?
Tuesday, TheOneRing.net's weekly update on all things
Thank you, Derek.
Tolkien.
How about that? Yes.
We're live from Meltdown Comics, where anything can happen.
All things Tolkien, and generally all things fantasy, science fiction, and clumsy Butterfingers related. I just dropped my Doctor Who magazine.
We're live on justin.tv/TheOneRing.net, or you can join us at TheOneRing.net/live, where we're looking at the chat right here. We see a lot of our regulars. Hello, Dwina.
Yes, we have.
Eravandi, a little bit of everybody's here.
Yes, we have chat.
AOL the Dark.
This time, we're very grateful and lucky to have
Hi,
chat.
Justin and Cliff
Hello.
pinching their heads.
Hello, everybody.
It's, we got,
That was Derek, by the way. That was Derek Vandermillen. We've had him on the show before, you know him.
And he's
one of our trusty Meltdown guys.
He's a trusty Meltdown fellow.
He's a good egg, as Samwise would say. He's a proper good egg, he is.
And
no mistake, Mr. Frodo, and no mistake.
We've got some interesting news.
He's the guy who just went to DenverCon, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who's got stories to tell. He went with Keely and Feely, the two young stars of Happy Hobbit, who are also behind the Hobbitception trailer response phenomenon from a year ago.
And it's 1 year since
it
that
is 1 year
trailer.
since that very funny moment happened.
And guess what we got at Denver Comic Con, and we couldn't show it
The key to the
online.
city.
We could only show it at the panel.
What did you get?
So, are you guys ready? Let's.
He's got it.
Let's
show
show the Hobbit trailer.
Oh, we've got the Hobbit trailer. Well, yeah.
Hey, come on.
Hey,
come on.
yeah, we got the Hobbit trailer.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, for a moment there, I was like, yeah. You've got the Hobbit trailer? What? Anyways,
so that was our Father's Day joke. That was such a dad joke, isn't it?
That was
like,
a
I
crazy
really
dad
want
joke.
this, and then Dad gets you the generic version that you weren't expecting. Yeah, at least my dad did.
We're gonna get.
My dad was the type of father that I wanted to watch Ghostbusters, so he puts on that other Ghostbusters show with the monkey. It's like it's such a dad joke. Not that Ghostbusters dad. So.
You know what? My dad's sense of humor was far less subtle than that. Far less subtle. But moving on, the man who has amazing stories to tell and some sights that he has seen, people that he has talked to who have been somehow associated with the production of the Hobbit film, perhaps. Mr. Justin was there. I didn't get the chance.
It was a fun weekend.
I had a work-related injury, and I'd like to get all my fans up to speed on that. I slipped and fell and busted my intercostal muscles. I fell, and I actually couldn't. Lucky for me, my coworker was there. He picked me up, and off I went to the hospital. Trot, right off the dot to go get an X-ray. Lucky for me, nothing's broken, but everything is ripped. But nothing's broken. So, anyways,
so you're ripped.
I'm under the influence of
300 ripped.
I'm under the influence of more codeine, and then.
So you're the boring one today.
I'm under the influence of more painkillers than Rush Limbaugh at a big New Year's Eve party. Let me tell you.
Hello.
And now I'm here with you guys all today. I'll be fine. I'm recovering, but we did have some topsy-turvy moments while you were gone, good sir.
Really?
A couple of topsy-turvy moments. Yes, we did, to say
happened?
the least. Well, I'm referring to my slip and fall.
Yes.
Yes, it was very fun.
Upside down.
It was very fun. Let me just tell you. Yes, but you were gone on the trip of a lifetime.
We do so many conventions, and it's such a privilege for TheOneRing.net to be able to connect with fans at whether we're in Calgary or Phoenix or Denver or Dragon Con or Fantasy Con.
First time at Denver?
This was our first time at Denver Comic Con.
Excellent, our inaugural.
And it was
good.
A wonderful thing. But before we jump in, just a quick update. The hype is real for this Hobbit trailer, and if you go to our Facebook page, every single post, the first comment is trailer. I mean, we could do a whole 45-minute show just saying the word trailer.
Trailer.
Yeah.
Trailer. I don't think so.
And
trailer.
That's all people want right now.
It's not happening until
if you carefully
Peter Jackson's ready to have it happen. What's your professional opinion on this?
If
the delay cannot go as long as actual San Diego Comic-Con.
Well,
it has to come before
if
that.
You look
Is that
at the OneRing.net,
the litmus test? Yeah, all right.
Demosthenes,
Yes.
our friend Steven in
Yes.
Australia, he posted a wonderful article.
He did. It's worth checking out.
At TheOneRing.net. It's a couple posts down on the front page of the status of the Hobbit trailer. And turns out 2014, there's new rules about film marketing and Hobbit trailers. And
not just The Hobbit, but all films.
And any film after October 2014, you cannot release a trailer prior to 6 months before the movie. And there's a lot of new rules.
Really? It has to be less than 6 months?
It has to be less than 6 months out, and it has to be 2 minutes long, not 2:30, like most trailers have been.
Who put these new rules together?
The Motion Picture Association. So when you
the
go...
MPAA?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that they had a controlling board to standardize these things.
They standardize all film
That's fascinating.
marketing.
Okay.
So there's new rules going into play, and we think The Hobbit is one of the first. So
it's like the comics codes from the 30s and 40s.
If you read the post, he's done his research. But a lot of people were under the assumption, based on our Facebook post last week, that we knew something nobody did. All we said was, like, if there's a trailer this week, we will play it. We didn't say we had it. But everything that we know about is based on Twitter. If you saw a couple weeks ago, Adam Brown tweeted pictures from inside the studio.
Well, he's been doing ADR. I did see him.
ADR.
I wonder if he's going to get in trouble for those tweets. I'm grateful that he's doing it, and other actors are tweeting things too.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be in trouble.
Well, that's exactly
I think it's great.
So
it's what fans want.
We think we think that the trailer's coming any day now. The rumors that we've heard are that there was a trailer almost ready before the name change. It was a They're Back Again trailer focused on Bilbo, but then he got the name changed, and he got after that he got approval to recut the trailer, and then
to have a different focus of storytelling,
and then to better represent the new title, and then with the new trailer required different special effects shots. And if you remember our talk with Jim Rigel, the marketing, the making of the visual effects is based on the marketing. So, like, the stuff that you're going to put in the trailer, the effects guys will do first.
Yes.
Right? So that shot's done, that shot's done, that shot's done.
So it can be done early.
That's why in the Two Towers trailer we had the shot of, or the Fellowship of the Ring trailer, we had the shot of the Balrog's foot coming down. But we didn't have any other shots of the Balrog.
That's right.
So the only shot in the trailer the only shot they had to do first was the Balrog's foot coming down.
And at a certain time, they were given the date for the Cannes Film Festival,
and
they knew those shots had to be done first.
So everything has to be scheduled when you're making a movie. It's not just like from front to end. So when they recut the trailer, it suddenly sent all the effects guys into a twirl because they're like, well, now we need this shot done. Now we need this shot done. So what we hear,
that's hell.
rumors are,
that's hell on
rumors are, is that the trailer can come any day now, and we'll be ready.
We should be, as a group of fans like us who are so incommunicado. I should say we are in constant communication with the creative people behind the scenes. We should be a little bit more sympathetic, I think, to the situation that the hard-working team of digital animators and effects animators are very hard at work, and we should perhaps convey a little sense of patience. A little bit of patience, guys. The trailer will arrive very soon, but I also get a sense that Warner Brothers would like to have certain marketing pieces in place before a certain large public show that like catches the world's attention.
Yeah, so San Diego
so we're in agreement on that.
It is a month away.
A month away.
So what we think will happen based on our post on TheOneRing.net is that the new Hobbit trailer will adhere to the new MPAA rules. It'll be the shortest trailer the Lord of the Rings has ever done, at 2 minutes instead of 2:30.
Wow.
We hear it might be released before San Diego, possibly before July 4th, and then at Comic-Con, not only will we get an extended trailer that might be up to 4 minutes, might include the original Bilbo footage from There and Back Again, but at San Diego we're hearing rumors that we'll get a production diary at
that's
Comic-Con.
Fantastic. That sounds great.
So
that sounds great.
So it could happen any day, or it could happen in a month's time. We don't know yet.
I am fascinated by this whole process. So many different groups of people both creative and accounting, financial, and attorneys, and not to mention executives. They're all affected by the sudden change in the wind, the change of the title.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe the Battle of the Five Armies will be the shortest of the Hobbit films?
We talked about that at our panels.
They keep getting shorter. All the films keep getting shorter, don't they? I mean, and now the trailers are getting shorter. Maybe we could expect the third film to be so light on story. It might be just the shortest of them all.
I don't think so. I think at the end it'll still be a 3-hour movie, knowing Peter Jackson.
What? Well, the theatrical release of Desolation of Smaug hit 2 hours and 14 minutes. Is that about right?
Maybe.
Close to that. I'm curious, though. Well, it was shorter than An Unexpected Journey by a few minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure our friends in the chat, welcome everybody. Glad to have a real live chat this time. Clue us in and let us know. Find the running time of The Hobbit.
The post says it's
Talk
some
about
kind of
it here.
cinema theater organization. Yeah, so there's an industry group that kind of decides a lot of the rules for the global theatrical marketplace. Like, okay, how long should trailers be? What languages do you need to translate the movies in? Stuff like that.
Oh yes, I've been to the.
You were
I've been to the
NATO.
National Association
That's
of
where
Theater Owners.
That's where you saw the first footage ever.
At CinemaCon. Yeah, I was the first guy from TheOneRing.net to see.
You were the first guy ever.
Actually, from the fan community.
Okay.
I was the first person from the fan community or from the public audience to see any high frame rate footage previewing An Unexpected Journey at the special event for these dudes that you mentioned in the chat room.
Yeah.
National Association of Theater Owners. They have a strange acronym, NATO, not to be politically confused with any other NATO alliances or other.
They're as political as you get.
Nothing like that.
You can text us at 530-64-FRODO.
6-4-FRODO.
That's right, our phone number is 530-64-FRODO.
Frodo.
Give us a text, tell us what you think, or you can join the chat room here.
Yes, please join us.
So,
hello.
we went up to Denver.
We need to do station identification.
Go ahead.
Welcome to TheOneRing.net. For you guys just joining us live, this is our Tuesday live webcast. I'm Clifford Broadway, also known online as Senior Staffer Quickbeam,
That's Thor.
been there since the very beginning of TheOneRing.net, and also this is Thor, and he's
not ticklish.
the heir to the throne of Asgard. He's the son of Odin.
Hey, anybody in home? Hello?
And Freya, half-brother or adoptive brother, rather, to Loki, the great troublemaker. And this guy right here is Justin. Justin, our co-host and lead technical producer.
A question just came on the
Mischief
the
Man.
hotline. Why are there so many rules regarding trailers, and why are the rules getting stricter?
No,
the short answer is there hasn't really been rules.
There have always been. Well, wait, no. There's a green band trailer. There's a red band trailer. There have been those kinds of rules in place.
Yeah, but there really hasn't been like a standard format.
That's true.
So this is the first time.
Hollywood has generally had its own standards and practices for trailer length.
Yeah.
They just kind of govern themselves.
They just kind of do
what they wanted to do. And now it's specific.
Now it's specific.
2-minute trailer, that's what you get.
So
are they trying to reduce the length of time that people sit and wait in the theater before the feature starts?
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, and they're trying to accommodate the theater owners so they can get more time in and more screenings per day.
And they can also
I get it now.
And they can also better
Everything
schedule.
is crystal clear.
They can also better schedule their movies because let's say you have a movie that starts at 3:15. If you know every trailer is going to be 2 minutes exactly, and you know you have to put 6 trailers in front of the movie, you can actually tell people that the movie doesn't start until 3:28.
All the people at the box office can give appropriate information to people who got there late on the train.
Exactly.
That's a lovely thing. Okay, it makes sense.
Has the movie started yet?
Yeah.
People can look up on their computer.
I don't know. I used to work, believe it or not, in the box office at the ArcLight, Hollywood, home of the historic Cinerama Dome. I was the guy who used to sell tickets and then lead people in the auditorium, and 828 people eating out of the palm of my hand as I introduced them all to Peter Jackson's King Kong on Christmas Day. Boy, that was a fantastic job. I had a great day doing that.
Yeah.
And I got in so much trouble for wearing a funny hat because the management didn't want me to wear a funny hat, but I did anyways. It was Christmas morning.
Of course you
What
did.
funny hat did I wear on Christmas morning? Can you guess?
Easter Bunny.
No. Yes, thank you. St. Nicholas came rolling out on stage, and I led the audience in singing a rousing 8 bars of Sleigh Ride, and they wanted to fire my ass so fast. It was amazing. But the audience was happy, and they loved Peter Jackson's King Kong. They had a great time. And it was a big day.
It was super fun.
Now, back to the Theater Owners Association. The thing is, trailers, now that they're standardized, are going to cause these kind of hiccups and production problems from people like Peter Jackson, who already had certain plans in place. Everybody else is going to have to play catch up as well. A lot of people in this town are going back to the drawing board, and they're all re-editing their trailers. Everyone in town is doing it. The one that we are most concerned with is obviously The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Stay tuned. Watch this channel. Justin, Clifford, and Thor will tell you the whole news, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And just like we've done with every trailer, we're going to do a 2-hour frame-by-frame analysis of a 2-minute trailer.
Frame-by-frame analysis.
Because that's what we do.
We will talk the dirtiest details, because now that we're going to get these ideas from the trailer, we'll be able to synchronize together what thematic content Peter Jackson is trying to put together in all 3 Hobbit movies to make them more complete with the trilogy, so that there's 6 films in a hexology of a set. Everyone in fandom is going to be looking at the 3rd Hobbit movie, scrutinizing the 3rd Hobbit movie for the element of completion, for the essence of those things that thematically complete storylines and missing threads, which is also what certain fandom was doing when they were looking at Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
That's right.
How did C-3PO blah 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 not know? Oh well, have those two droids' memories erased. Yeah. Right, a throwaway line. But we're going to be looking for things like that in The Hobbit that will also bring things back into a whole piece of filmmaking. Is it not true?
Remember in Jurassic Park, the trailer, and you just saw this T-Rex foot just go down into the mud?
I remember that. That was the best.
And you were just like, whoa. That's what I want to see with a bear paw.
A bear paw in the mud?
You know,
okay, I'm down for that. I'm so down for that.
Right? You know, like, you know, all this, and then suddenly, and then everybody, and just silence on the battlefield.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
A bear. Well, do you know what? There are some surprises that I'm not going to mention because I signed an NDA. I was on set and I need to shut up. But if that bear doesn't show up in the trailer, it's going to be because they're trying to save it as a surprise, like, surprise moment.
The
book has been out for 76 years.
We know from history that Peter doesn't like surprises.
Thank you, Gandalf the White reappears in the Two Towers trailer.
Here's Gandalf. He's not dead. I know you all thought he was dead, but let's spoil this in the first trailer. But let's jump into. We had a lot of new information at Denver, which I was surprised that there was new stuff to talk about in Denver. But
Tell me,
it was really interesting.
From whom did this new news come from?
Let's show you where some information came from. Look at this.
Oh, we have a picture.
This
juicy bits.
Gandalf himself at the Weta booth.
Nice.
The Weta decided to come to Denver.
Oh, they did.
And
that's right.
They had the biggest and the best booth. You see Azog in the background there. Gandalf.
Azog.
Azog. The white guy.
I keep trying to tell people it's Smaug. I'm still telling people that, but go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
It was super fun, and it was bittersweet here because this is the final time we get to see The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug Weta booth.
Yes.
The final convention
where those contents will
be in play.
New contents and new stuff will be related to Battle of the Five Armies.
Everything from here on out is Battle of the Five Armies.
Wow. Okay, so they're retiring those pieces.
But not only come back to us, but at the Weta booth we had this exclusive Misty Mountains. Isn't this appropriate for Denver? Coors Light.
I love Coors Light.
Right? And so we found this wonderful Misty Mountains logo inspired by the Mile High City of the Rocky Mountains.
Mile High. That's the Denver has earned a whole new nickname with the double meaning of Mile High.
That's right.
City, because they're all bloody medicated now. Your love of the halfling's leaf has clearly slowed your mind.
We sold out.
You did? Well, of course, this cool t-shirt design is cooler than you think, guys. There are hidden pictograms in this t-shirt design. Cool ones. Can you tell the audience about that, Justin?
There's I don't want to spoil it.
There's a hidden dwarf axe. There's a hidden Gandalf silhouette. There's a key on the secret door. Little keyhole. Oh, wait. Looks like Thorin. Looks like a Richard Armitage little beard going on there.
There's some surprises. It was a fun shirt.
And you sold out, of course.
Yeah, so people were lovely.
Excellent.
But you know who else had a booth for the first time ever? They had their own booth.
Who?
Check this out.
Oh, hello! How cool is that?
They had their own booth. How wonderful is that?
That's so cute. Feely and Keely had
our
their own
little
booth.
happy hobbits who started humbly on this program.
Indeed, they did.
This is for their first exposure to the fandom was here on our program, and now
Indeed.
they're hosting their own booth at a major convention. How amazing is that?
That's kind of
so
fantastic.
Proud.
That's fantastic.
It's just really neat. What else do we have over here?
And they were in the fan table section, yes?
Look what Weta brought, and they're bringing more.
Dwarven gold coins.
They're bringing more to San Diego.
Are they from the set? Are they actual coins from the set?
They are actual coins from the set.
Oh my gosh,
they come
cool.
They come in bags of 5, and they jingle like real metal.
But they're not made of real metal, are they?
They're real metal. Yeah.
I'm excited as all get out. Got to get some of those, guys.
I got some of those for my dad.
Let's look at the fan
Father's
reaction
Day.
in the room.
We had some gold coins at the Weta booth, but they have so much cool stuff, and we hear that there's more stuff coming to San Diego that hasn't been announced yet. That is all Battle of 5 Armies, but wait to be seen.
Okay, back to Central.
We're excited.
That is so cool.
Right?
That's very cool stuff. Because
of all the stuff, I just want Dragon's Horde.
5-sided and 6-sided dwarf coins with strange symmetry.
It was great. And they felt hand pressed.
As Bilbo said back in the Rankin and Bass animated Hobbit in '77, he said, "Dwarves have a strange notion of perfection." Which was never written in Tolkien, but it was the best dialogue that sounded like Tolkien in that animated film. And you guys know it's true.
That's right.
You remember that. And anybody out there who's my age remembers that. So back up. Wow, very shiny coins.
Right?
The chat room is excited.
Chat room is so excited.
They're available. You can actually buy some from the Weta booth?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down. I'm so down.
Buy the bag.
Straight out of the Dragon's Hoard.
Oh, it was.
I'm there.
They smell like reptile.
What kind of nice folks did you bump into at the Dragon Con?
Well, we bumped into a Dave and a Peter.
Oh yeah, who's
and
that?
A Peter Lyon is a swordsmith of all swordsmiths.
Oh yes, he's a great
you
guy.
Might have
Peter
seen him
Lyons.
you might have seen him in Reclaiming the Blade.
Yeah, that's an excellent film.
And he's been around the fandom for a bit.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
He walked around. He patrolled the booth the whole time with a huge sword or axe.
Was he taking Q&A like live with people as they walked through the convention?
Absolutely. And then he hosted a sold-out panel, packed panel at the end on Sunday.
Excellent.
It was
I'm sure it
all
was
about
well
sword
done.
making. It was fantastic. But
you guys need to check out Reclaiming the Blade if you haven't seen it.
It's a great
really good stuff.
But you know who else? Had a panel? Look at this.
Who's that there? Oh.
Uh-oh.
Keely and Feely had a panel.
Wait, he doesn't look too happy about a girl kissing him.
No, he doesn't.
What does that mean?
That's funny.
But you know,
so Alex Rice and Kelly Rice had a panel.
And not I think.
Or was it Azog? Azog had the panel?
He got knocked out too. Look. Like we had to put him on a stretcher. He was a little tense after that moment. I don't think he knew how to deal with his feelings.
Oh look, there's our friend David Tremont.
Yeah,
on the right. He's the best.
Super fun. Keep going.
He's a famous sculptor with Weta's design
And there was
team.
some amazing cosplay.
I bet there was great cosplay.
Look at this wonderful elf. Keep going.
Tariel.
I don't know.
Oh, hey, that must be Jack Skellington and Sally,
so
the ragdoll girl.
Look at his hand. It's just so perfect.
What?
That picture.
What will become of my dear friend?
So good.
Where will his actions lead us then? That was the song that brought The Nightmare Before Christmas to a dead halt.
Yeah.
But it was the sweetest song.
Yeah.
It was a sweet, sweet song, but it should have been over the end credits because it brought the whole movie to a halt. But I do love that song anyways, I gotta admit. Who's next on our cosplay list? Sylvester McCoy.
So he was there all weekend long, and check this out. Guess what? He joined us on the panel.
Did he? Oh, that's great.
When TheOneRing.net did our unofficial, official, non-trailer trailer preview.
Oh, how great.
Sylvester came up on stage and chatted with everybody. Look at that. The Happy Hobbits were so excited.
That's so cool.
Look how fun that is.
That's really excellent.
Radagast and our Happy Hobbits.
And he joined the panel.
They're more famous than us now.
Indeed, they have surpassed their masters, as many Jedi Padawan do.
Okay, come back to us.
Did Mr. McCoy say that he remembered being chatty with the One Ring before?
Absolutely. Sylvester is a friend. You know, he
is. We had such a great interview with him.
He's in the latest issue. We just got Meltdown Comics just got this latest copy of Doctor Who magazine, and
who's on the cover? My favorite Doctor.
Our favorite Doctor, Sylvester McCoy.
He played the spoons on me.
Yes.
During the middle of our interview.
Yeah.
If you guys are watching this archive in the future on our archive on the YouTube channel, scroll down a bit. You'll see the Sylvester McCoy interview I did with him. He's a lovely fellow.
Yeah, he's so good.
And did he spill any beans or any new info?
He said he said he's tight-lipped, more tight-lipped than even your NDA because he actually gets paid to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, he gets paid to keep his mouth shut. All right.
But he did.
I thought they were changing the Hobbit name to Revenge of Sebastian or something. There's the joke right there for the day.
It was just great to hear some of his stories that he told with us here on the show, but in front of a live audience and everybody's laughing and responding to it. It's just fun to see those same stories, but with 500 people in the room. Like there's an energy.
Wow.
There's an energy beyond your infectious laugh and 500 people's infectious laugh.
For sure.
But he did let us know, this is exclusive information, that he is scheduled to be in London July 16th, the week of July 16th, for ADR recording. For Radagast. And
that means there's more script changes happening at the very minute.
That's right.
There are script changes happening now.
So that means Adam Brown is doing his for the last 3 weeks, and Radagast is scheduled along with Luke Evans that week. He said that all the ADR is being personally directed by Philippa.
Philippa Boyens, yes, that's right.
So she is in London. She's directing all the actors, and then she sends the new tapes or MP3s to Peter in New Zealand, and he approves them overnight. Because there's a 24-hour time difference between the two, or 12 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So Philippa is officially kind of second unit post-production director.
Yes, she is now. That's a fascinating new title.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if after this Hobbit trilogy has concluded the whole Tolkien hexology, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Philippa gets her own project. She's a brilliant woman. We'll be talking with her in our interviews that we're doing for an upcoming little project we're doing.
Yeah.
And because we're talking to very, very powerful, creative women in the Hollywood industry and in the creative arts, because we're interested in talking to them about what it's like working in a so-called man's world, which is really changing. It's not really a man's world anymore.
Right. He mentions in the chat room that Manu is scheduled for pickups too as well.
Manu Bennett, the estimable Manu.
Yes, Azog himself.
Yes. Amazing.
So the thing, that was new information that we learned. That Philippa is second unit post-production director.
Does that suggest that Manu Bennett is actually providing the voice?
He said he was. We learned that at San Diego.
He's always been providing the voice. It's not like the case where some of those goblins in Lord of the Rings were performed by, like Nori, by Jed Brophy. But then given a voice by Craig Parker later on in ADR. It's not like that. It's really Manu Bennett being the voice of Azog.
And it was interesting. We were going through the Hobbit preview. It was the One Ring Hobbit 3 preview, and McCoy was there. We talked a little bit about Radagast and where Radagast is headed, and he wouldn't say anything about a White Council meeting.
He can't.
But his acknowledgement tells you everything. He said, "I can't tell you anything about the White Council meeting." Which tells you there's a White Council meeting.
You know what?
But the interesting thing that he said as we were going through our presentation,
we've been talking about these rumors for many months. Yeah. That the suggestion is that the prologue opening scene of third Hobbit film, Battle of the Five Armies, will begin with Gandalf's rescue, with the sudden appearance of Galadriel and the White Council, and maybe even Saruman, to help rescue Gandalf at the Battle of Dol Guldur. But if that is true, then it represents the very first time ever that one of Peter Jackson's Middle-earth movies has a prologue which is not a proper flashback.
Which I don't think. So I don't think it'll be accurate. But the other thing that he was saying is throughout we were discussing all the rumors and hints and allegations, and every time I'd throw an eye back to him like, so you got anything to say about this rumor? And he was just like, But the interesting thing is that Sylvester McCoy was like, why do we want to talk about this? Don't you guys love surprises? You know, he's like, well, I don't want to know this about the movie. He's like, I filmed my scenes and I didn't film anything else. He's like, I don't want to be on this panel if you're going to talk about all these rumors. And you know, we kind of put it to the audience. I'm like, do you guys like spoilers and like this or
fascinating?
And so there was this interesting dialogue that was happening about spoilers versus not spoilers versus coming in fresh.
There's a very telling passage that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote in The Return of the King, and the dialogue is given to Gandalf. It never appeared in any of the films. And Gandalf said, "Many there are who like to know what kind of a banquet is to be set. But they spoil the chef's surprise, and they spoil his hard effort by wanting to know everything that's going to be served before the actual, you know, huge big dinner is." So, yeah, I mean, I'm totally went off the rails and paraphrasing it, but Professor Tolkien had the same observation on that. It's perhaps it is best left that there's some organic essence of first-time experience from just seeing it
originality
and having it put in front of you for the first time. Yes.
The interesting thing that
to not diminish it in that way.
The most interesting thing that I thought that Sylvester McCoy said is that when we broached the subject of Dain Ironfoot, king of all dwarves.
Yes, indeed.
And he said, I can't tell you anything about it, but I was on set when he was on set.
Ooh.
So
Loaded.
does that mean Radagast is at the Battle of Five Armies?
No, it means that there's a set that is right next door to another set, and they're both working on something at the same time, but they're probably on different sound stages.
Billy Connolly
He might be playing with the syntax of the words there a little bit.
Billy Connolly is a large man. He is physically a large man. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
He's a large man. If you remember him in the Boondock Saints, he is just a presence, a figure.
Although he's hardly in the film at all, but yes, he is.
But yeah, he has a commanding presence.
Yes, he does.
And Sylvester McCoy says that the dwarf makeup and the costume that they've put on him is so alpha. They've made him twice the size that he already is.
Wow.
So this is a large dwarf that rides a large warg into battle.
Warg? No, you don't mean a warg.
Whatever it is. It was
boar?
green. Whatever it was green when he was riding it.
It was a battle wild boar.
They could put anything they want in it, but he could ride the Titanic. It was green when he was riding it.
A wild battle pig. Wild boar.
But so Dain Ironfoot, played by Billy Connolly, is going to be a presence felt and a force to be reckoned with.
And he is the guy most wanting, he's on our most wanted list to do an interview with. And he's the one who's making himself least available to the fans.
Well, he's dealing with Parkinson's and cancer and stuff like that.
He is. Oh, yes, he's dealing with a double whammy of difficult proportions. It's very difficult, and I feel for him very much so.
So it was, we learned, we had some fun with Sylvester McCoy, and we told some jokes, and we learned some little tidbits, sneaky little tidbits.
Did he tell you everything off stage?
No. He was as tight-lipped off stage.
Really? He didn't even tell you?
He said more on stage than off stage. He said more in front of an audience than we could get out of him otherwise. But the interesting thing is that here's how clever and intelligent Sylvester McCoy is. Now he plays kind of the bumbling, doctor, and the bumbling, smoke out my ears, and he's got this kind of skip and a step and a spoon playing. He's kind of gives a sense of a little bit of aloofness, right?
Yes, maybe.
So when we got to Denver,
physical comedy.
I saw him up there. I saw him at the convention, so I went up and said, "Hey, I'm moderating the panel. I don't know if you remember me, but we were in Hollywood." And he's like, "Hollywood, Florida, Hollywood, Scotland, trying to buzz me." And you could tell I was like, he's like, but then he said, "No, I quite remember. It was February 18th. It was in LA when I was about to go do pickup shots in New Zealand. It was at 5:00 in the afternoon." So he remembered the day, the time, the place he parked.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He has got that type of memory.
That's brilliant.
But he plays this kind of aloof, like, just tell me where to go, you know.
He plays like his brains are scrambled.
But no,
But he's not. He's sharp as a tack.
Very sharp as a tack.
So he's a little bit like the Mandarin.
Yes.
A little bit. Really, really good at pretending to be something
which
other.
makes him even more endearing to know that he's having
excellent.
fun with us. He's in on all the jokes and he's having fun with us, which is wonderful.
That's so cool.
So.
He did do a charity gig in Glasgow.
Yep.
They were talking about Mr. Billy Connolly.
Yes.
Yes,
Billy
indeed.
Connolly.
Uh,
But
look at this. Ari says, I think Legolas will be the one saving Gandalf because you see him go after Bolg at the end of the Desolation of Smaug, and I'm guessing Bolg is headed to Dol Guldur.
I will be pissed. If
That's
it's Legolas
interesting.
that saves Gandalf and not the White Council that saves Gandalf. There's
That's
no
interesting.
way that Legolas could accomplish what the wizard Gandalf cannot, which is escape from Dol Guldur. There's no way. The White Council has to come to his rescue. I will be pissed. He's not that powerful of an elf yet.
I wonder what's going on here.
You know,
I'm very intrigued by that idea.
so
we'll see about that.
We had a lot to talk about, but you know who else had a lot to talk about?
What else happened?
Check this out.
Yeah.
Happy
yes.
Hobbits had their own panel.
Yes, they did.
And it was packed. It was packed. So many fangirls and fanboys that watched their show. You don't quite realize how popular people are until you see people actually spend an hour in line to get into the room, and then and then they. So we talked on stage.
That's great.
That panel actually was fun. I think that was the history of the One Ring. That was the first time we've ever done an hour-long look back at the 15 years of TheOneRing.net, and that was fun. It was nice to show some of the early rumors and debates. Remember when we didn't know if that was Gandalf or Saruman impaled on the spike, and people were pissed that what is Peter Jackson doing? Is this how Gandalf the Grey dies?
Oh, wow.
Remember that fan
Yes,
debate?
I do remember that,
And
yes.
remember Liv Tyler as Arwen at Helm's Deep, and how dare you put an elf in battle?
There were pictures of her there.
Yeah,
with the sword in her hands.
So we showed some of that. We showed all these old debates, and it was fun to kind of compare the Hobbit rumors versus the Lord of the Rings rumors and the fan debates that are just repeating over and over again. And then of course Kelly, who just self-published her book Darkling, was invited to speak on other women in writing panels, and it was really interesting to see the feedback and the interaction.
I'm sure that was an eye-opening conversation.
It was great. I'm just so proud of her. I'm just so proud that she's coming into
Yes,
her own.
indeed.
So yeah,
Yes, indeed.
There's
Coolness.
There was we had a lot of fun panels.
That's great, man.
I kind of enjoyed looking back, and I wish you were there, and I hope I think we're gonna try to do it again at FantasyCon. But a look back at the history of TheOneRing.net, 15 years of fandom was a really fun treat to kind of look where we were, look where we are, and look what we're doing now. And history is repeating itself. Remember, after Return of the King, people said, "Well, what are you guys gonna do?" Well, you know what we did? We published some books like The People's Guide to J.R.R. Tolkien. We went out and made a movie, Ringers Loaded Fans. We went out and made a convention called One Ring Celebration.
That's right.
And guess what we're doing now at the end of the third movie? We've got a new convention called FantasyCon. J.W. Braun is authoring a new book.
Yes, he is. A very exciting new book.
We're looking at a new documentary. So everything that we did after Return of the King, we're actually doing it again, but we're smarter, we're better, we're more interesting. We've got a lot of cool stuff. And if you look at the FantasyCon page, look up FantasyCon, Salt Lake City. All the Hobbits are coming. A full reunion of the 4 Hobbits: Elijah, Dominic, Sean, and Billy.
That's about 2 weeks away, isn't it?
2 weeks away, Salt Lake Comic Con. And guess who just confirmed?
Who?
Mr. Royd Tolkien is emceeing several panels.
Very good.
So a Tolkien at a Tolkien convention.
That's very, very good.
It's going to be super fun. So what else happened in Denver? At night, we hosted a torn moot. You know how we do this at several conventions.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we do. And we have
do this
fans
at
gather.
New York, especially. We've done it a couple times at San Diego. And I think we've done a few other torn moots. But look, we had a costume contest. and keep going. And Weta showed up, and it was just a wonderful time. We had open mic. It was basically Middle Earth open mic. So people came on and started singing in Elvish, and then someone came in and started singing in Dwarvish, and reciting memorized lines from Tolkien. I think we have another picture from our trivia contest. We were doing a trivia contest. So we had a fun torn mood over at the Dino Hotel, Denver, the Best Western Denver.
Oh
Dino
yeah,
Hotel.
nice gathering. That was a very good nighttime dinner.
It was a great
and
turnout
gathering for friends.
Yeah, it was super fun, and everybody had a good. We made some new friends.
That's cool.
That we got to know a lot better over the weekend, and it was. That's why we do the Torn Moots.
Yeah.
Is to connect with people. It's not. It's fun to do all the Facebook and retweets and stuff like that, but it's even better like when you're in the same place and you're sharing a brew or sharing a smoke. And
there's the group of fans who are always the most willing to relax and eat and hang out, and that in itself becomes one of the most attractive things about touching base with all the fans online. They become like real people with you.
Yeah.
Like they always are online. It's great.
And the interesting thing, the Happy Hobbits had this idea of making it more of an open mic. You know how usually we have like a list of events, like, all right, we're going to do this time, it's kind of... And the Happy Hobbits came up with this idea of like a Middle Earth open mic. And so we just had a single mic with a single amp. And anyone that wanted to come up and sing a song or tell a joke or do anything, and it really felt like an open mic. And some people told their life story about being a fan and what Tolkien meant to them. I don't think we've ever done an open mic before, and it was really powerful to hear some of the stories. Some people wanted to share their story, some people wanted to share their musical abilities, but it was all through a passion of Tolkien, and it was wonderful. I don't remember us ever, the OneRing ever doing that, and I think we should do it again.
Indeed.
The idea of an open mic. Again, you can text us 530-64-FRODO or Skype us, the OneRing net on Skype. It should work. But what else do we have in our grab bag of goodies?
Arsenal.
Look at this. You know who that is?
That's the gentleman from the Paleontology Museum.
That is Dr. Robert Bacher, PhD. That guy on the right is Dr. Bacher. He looks like Alan Grant, right? With the blue shirt and the tan hat. Doesn't he look like Alan Grant from Jurassic Park, played by Sam Neill?
He looks like he actually looks like maybe like some wise wizard in the cowboy hat.
Well, he's definitely a wizard. And then right in the middle there is Greg Talley, the owner of the Best Western Denver Southwest, which amazing hotel, worth going to. They just opened their Dino Bar.
Dino bar? How cool!
A Dino Bar full of dinosaurs. And then that's with the big black cowboy hat. That's Matt Morrison, the director of the Morrison County Museum of Natural History. And that's where you got to touch dinosaurs and stuff like that. And I was privileged enough to share a panel with a PhD in dinoology. And it was fascinating.
How cool!
I think we have a little clip of. What we talked
let's
about.
have that.
Let's see if that can play.
All right, my friend, do you want to describe what it means to be an oliphant? How did Tolkien describe this? Well, he described them as being as big as houses from Sam's perspective, and you have to wonder, since Sam was a halfling, if he means if it's as big as Baghead, or sometimes as big as hills. And some of his creatures, he's very circumspect and just mentions them in passing, but Tolkien waxed rhapsodic about oliphants and said upward curved tusks, and definitely went to great lengths to describe both the oliphants and Sam's excitement over seeing them.
I wish I could have heard what he said. What was he? You know the clip.
Matt Mossbrucker in the black hat.
What was he saying?
I got that name wrong. Matt Mossbrucker of the Morrison Museum of Natural History.
That's Morrison County.
And
what state is that?
No, Morrison City.
Morrison City?
In Denver, in
Colorado. Morrison.
Outside Denver. You know where Red Rocks is?
Yeah.
The famous Red Rocks Amphitheater,
of course,
where
yes.
U2
Yes.
live at Red Rocks.
That's fantastic, yeah.
John Tesh live at Red Rocks. Who
It's a huge amphitheater.
It's second only to the Hollywood Bowl, I would say.
As a famous outdoor amphitheater.
As an acoustically beautiful
outdoor space.
It's heaven on ears.
And there's also dinosaur fossils out there. I
Yeah,
understand.
there's Dino Ridge and there's everything like that.
Yeah.
But Matt brought Allosaurus skull, and there's
Really?
some of
Cool.
our friends at WETA who were asking deep conversations about what's going on with this dino skull and what do you know about dinosaurs.
How cool! I love David Tremont. Look at there's David
Yeah.
on the left.
Yes.
He designed some of the greatest sculptures and cool designs in the Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit that you have seen. And his name is in the credits in many places. He's a great designer.
He's a senior art guy at
Yeah,
WETA,
one of
and
the
he was
senior
asking
art
a
designers.
lot of questions to the Morrison Natural History Museum curator Matt
Cool.
Mossbrucker.
That's cool to see them meet face to face.
yeah,
and
it's super good.
Talk about dino bones.
And then remember when Bilbo is hiding from
Hiding
Smaug?
what? What's that behind the corner?
Look at this.
That's Alex. She's so funny.
That's Alex from the Happy Hobbit. Look at the next one. It's Smaug scale.
That is, well, yeah, that's a pretty good size scale.
That is actually a real T-Rex skeleton head. That's as close you could get to Smaug's skull.
Was that found in North America?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Look at that guy.
Keeley fell in love, because that's what Keeley does in The Hobbit.
Evidently.
He keeps falling in love. So Keeley keeps falling in love, and once again, Keeley fell in love with someone that's not of his race or her race.
Oh gosh, here we go. That's so funny.
So there you go. But the eye sockets are huge. This dino is a
that.
real T-Rex head, and it was amazing. It's a hands-on museum.
Are you getting excited for Jurassic Park 4?
Jurassic World is going to be amazing.
Jurassic World.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And not only do they have dinosaurs on display, but check it out. They let Keeley start drilling out some rock that
Really?
they had from a new dig. So there she is with an actual drill, drilling out some rock from
Whoa,
bone.
Cool.
This is 300 million year old bone, and they're
she's
trusting her steady
to
hand
go dig around in it. That's so cool. That's awfully
amazing.
cool.
And of course, the T-Rex ended up eating my One Ring, and now I can see why the One Ring was lost for millennia. Because if a T-Rex eats the holder of the One Ring, it just becomes like stuck in its teeth. You know how when you eat corn, you get corn stuck in your teeth?
Yeah, that's no. Come on.
Look, the One Ring got stuck in his tooth.
Well, the three trolls actually make a joke about picking Farmer out of their teeth.
Yeah.
There's off-screen dialogue before we fully encounter William, Bert, and Tom in an unexpected journey. And one of them makes an offhand comment about picking Farmer out of his teeth.
A question in the chat room, Aravondi says, I wonder if that's the same rock Doug got to drill. It is, absolutely. So now you know how long it takes to drill out a dino. Because we visited there with Doug back in August of last year.
Oh, yeah.
And it is now June of this year. And they're still digging, they're still drilling the same stone. So digging dinosaurs is a heavy, long-term thing.
Serious.
Of doing the same thing every day.
And perhaps it was interesting because you guys were able to program this panel presentation to bring in a fantasy science fiction slant to the actual paleontology discussion. You ended up talking about fantastical creatures, didn't you?
Yeah, well, this is the first time we had done a conversation like this. I kind of
cool.
We kind of threw around the idea of like, I wonder if people would be interested in this. Turns out people lined up for 2.5 hours to see this panel.
That's excellent.
Like,
That's really
I had
excellent.
no idea that many people were interested in dinosaurs and Tolkien, but you've been on panels where sometimes there's only 10 people in the crowd. And you've been in front of a cast of thousands, at major conventions doing Hobbit previews.
Literally thousands.
So you never know what a panel what people want to see or respond to. So we kind of came up with this idea of like comparing Tolkien's creatures to the fossil record.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
could eagles have grown large enough to carry people?
That size. Okay.
Could hyenas and wolves grown big enough in the paleontological record, I know I'm saying that wrong, to where a man or an orc could ride it?
Right.
And
right.
and the way we set up the panel is that we introduce the character. Here's an oliphant. It's a war elephant. It's been trained as a war elephant. It has 4 tusks. It does this with its things,
Yes.
and it's that size.
We have a little thing called gravity on this planet, and according to what we know about it, it governs the rate of growth that a land mammal can be. That's why the largest mammals on Earth are whales, the blue whales, and they have water to support them because of their immense gravity. In our time space, in this particular gravitational field in our world, it's impossible for certain land-dwelling creatures to get larger than a certain mass because the weight of their own gravity would crush their internal organs.
Well, turns out that's not entirely accurate.
Is it not entirely
And
true?
Everything that you and I learned as kids about dinosaurs,
Yeah?
almost everything has been proven false.
Fascinating. Tell me more.
When you and I were in school, we learned that dinosaurs were mostly reptiles, and they
Yes.
acted like lizards and crocodiles. They were cold-blooded. They lived in a warm environment. All right. Well, ever since you and I were in grade school, Dr. Bacher has led the charge of proving that a lot of dinosaurs were warm-blooded. Many of them are related
really?
to birds and had feathers.
Well, we know that now.
And-
we know they're
and
definitely related to birds.
And so,
No.
for instance, when we talked about oliphants,
So how did they change from cold-blooded to
they
warm-blooded?
didn't change. We just got
We were
smarter.
making wrong guesses about their
wrong
metabolism.
assumptions.
Ah, very good.
And so what we found, what Dr. Bacher and Matt and Greg found in the fossil record was there are real-life mammoth skeletons that equal the size of a Mumakil
Really?
elephant.
Fantastic. Really?
And they've also found, we showed...
So it's not beyond the pale of natural order and natural selection
let's go even...
for a creature to be that large.
Not even. We'll even go
Wow.
one step further. They found fossil evidence of 4 tusked elephants.
Really?
Just like the oliphants.
Really?
4 tusked,
Quadratusks?
quadratusked
Whoa.
elephants.
No way.
And we also know that African bull elephants grow these big long horns, and they charge at you, moving their head like this. So we know that current African bull elephants act like those war elephants and do that thing. So we know that mammoths grew that size. We knew that there are fossil records of 4 tusked elephants. And
that is the coolest piece of scientific surprise news I've heard in a long time.
And so this
and
is,
I haven't missed an episode of Cosmos. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Well, this
Wow.
was the interesting thing about the panel is that we would present the Tolkien creature as shown by Weta in the movies, and then we would show the fossil record, and then we went to the audience and we would say, "What do you guys think? Is it plausible that an oliphant could have existed?" And we let the audience decide, and 4 out of 5 times, we think that giant golden eagles existed. We think oliphants
Wow.
existed. We think,
Wow.
and we went into many creatures, including wargs, and even including the Watcher in the Water, and Smaug himself.
I've often wondered what that creature lived on, living in that little body of water and being that size of a creature.
That's right.
What did it live on?
Phytoplankton, maybe.
And phytoplankton,
I don't know.
perhaps?
I'm just
yeah.
making that. I'm not the
Who
scientist.
knows?
They are. But it was interesting because I could see minds being blown live in front of us for
That's very- yeah.
for an hour.
Yeah.
For an hour, nobody checked their phone. You know how people, like, if they're kind of bored with what's being said, even during our Hobbit panels at San Diego,
You'll
people,
see little lights in the room
you know,
sometimes?
you'll see someone like check their schedule or
to
text
see what the next
someone.
panel is they want to go to. Right.
And so nobody was picking up their phones. Like, everyone was so attentive. And every time Dr. Bacher opened his mouth, you'd see every head go.
That's cool.
Like, I've never been in a room where every ear, and like everyone was hanging on his every word.
Wow.
And it was a fascinating look. And not only that, but Matt Mossbrucker was just blowing minds with, like, these are the facts. And people were like, really? And we were showing archival photos of, like, giant birds, you know, with 20-foot wingspans and standing next to a 6-foot man. And we're, you know, just like, you think you could ride that? Like, it was... This is real fossil record. And so I actually before the panel, I went over to Weta. I said, hey, do you have any skeletal models of Smaug? Turns out the new Weta book, Designing Smaug,
oh, yeah.
which just came out 2 weeks ago.
Yes, it did.
They actually have in the book pictures, renderings of Smaug's skeleton, and then Smaug's musculature, and then Smaug's 5-finger wing.
Yes.
And so we actually have the bone structure of Smaug, and we compared that with actual dragons and lizards and things that have been dug up in the desert. And could Smaug have existed? So it was a fascinating look at, you know, is it more like a bat wing versus a pterodactyl wing versus a pteranodon wing? You know, how could you have done this? Is there any evidence that maybe creatures breathed fire? What were Tolkien's influences? Turns out Dr. Bacher is a Tolkien enthusiast, and he knows a lot.
That's
I would
cool.
love to put him in a room with you and see who knows
great.
more, because he's
See who knows more?
He's a smart guy. He's a really
Brilliant.
smart guy. I get goosebumps thinking about all the Tolkien knowledge. I mean, he was just like, he just knew. And the interesting thing is that I kind of, as moderator, I was posting questions to our panelists saying, you know, Tolkien was at Oxford, right? But, you know, we know who he hung out with. You know, the other people, you know, his group of 5, right?
Yeah, the Inklings.
The Inklings. So the question was, do we know if Tolkien was even aware of the dinosaur discoveries that were happening at the time when he was writing Lord of the Rings? So between 1930 and 1945, was Tolkien aware?
Probably not. Most of his time was, you know, concerned with handling foreign editions of The Hobbit, and, you know.
What year did The Lord of the Rings get published?
I was just about to say, The Hobbit was in 1937, and I believe the first edition, Fellowship of the Ring, came out in 1954.
1954.
Although what time of year I'm not exactly certain. But, I mean, at the time of the writing and the creation of The Lord of the Rings, which was a grueling 17-year process to write the trilogy, even though it wasn't intended to be a trilogy.
Yep.
It's interesting. I think Tolkien was mostly preoccupied with surviving the war and having some kind of financial security to support his family.
Well, he was at Oxford.
Also, at the time, he wasn't making enough money at Oxford. And so he had a runaway best-selling book, The Hobbit, and his publisher was begging for a sequel. Begging Tolkien to give him a sequel to The Hobbit, which Tolkien went back and forth trying to get the Silmarillion under his publisher's nose. That didn't work. But, you know, when the war happened, you know, there was a paper shortage, and that was one of the reasons why, you know, the publisher claimed, we're going to have to take your book, that big fat, you know, 1,600-page book of The Lord of the Rings, and split it into 3 volumes. I don't know if Mr. Tolkien, Professor Tolkien, was really paying attention to National Geographic or paleontology news.
Well,
he was mostly preoccupied with trying to survive the war and get his kids through school and keep the lights on.
That's the question I posed to our panelists, and guess what Dr. Bacher said?
What did he say?
Well, Dr. Bacher...
Perhaps he might know.
Is well informed about the history of dinosaur discoveries as one of the foremost leading paleontologists.
Indeed.
He knows when dinosaurs were discovered, when their names were changed, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Turns out Oxford University was one of the biggest financiers of dinosaur expeditions across the world.
Really?
In every continent.
Really?
Oxford University was one of the leading institutions where they sent men out across the world to Africa, South America, everywhere.
To archaeological digs.
To dig up these monster beasts and bring them back. And so
Wow.
Oxford University, at the time of Tolkien teaching and writing Lord of the Rings, would have had one of the largest collections of dinosaur bones in the world, and they would have been, Oxford University would have been at the forefront of paleontology discoveries. And so if
I like seeing you stumble across the word paleontology.
every time.
I just love it.
So if you know anything about college, you know that there's a lot of cross-pollination. You walk in between buildings, you see what other departments are going on and who's doing this. And we do know Greg Talley from the Best West Denver actually found a speech in Tolkien's writings.
Really?
Where he talks about the dinosaur record. And
Fascinating.
And he talks about some of the beasts. And it was, so we do know that Oxford was one of the premier places in the world to know about the latest in dinosaur discoveries.
So perhaps Professor Tolkien was a little bit more tapped into the current, news of the day,
And what we found,
considering these great beasts.
and what we found in the research for the panel is that 80%, 70 to 80% of all the creatures in Middle Earth are plausible. And we think
Wow.
possibly that J.R.R. Tolkien, because he was at Oxford at the time he was writing Lord of the Rings, and Oxford was making some of the most important discoveries of dinosaurs in the world, across the world, that he might have, overheard, look what we found, or he might have cross-checked, going into the natural history department saying,
Indeed.
hey, would it be possible if a thing was this big, or if a wolf was this big, or a hyena, or a bird? Could a bird have been this big?
Or a mumakil.
And they would have been able to say, yeah, some of the bones we found, it's quite possible they grew to that big. So Tolkien's creatures are based,
That's fantastic.
may be based on actual discoveries that were
Fascinating.
being made. And it's completely changed the way I look at Tolkien's writing process. He wasn't authoring in a vacuum. We
course.
know that he shared his manuscripts with his friends like C.S. Lewis.
Charles Williams and the other Inklings.
He shared his work as a work in progress. So we know he checked and rechecked and fact-checked. I have a feeling that he fact-checked some of his things just to make sure that his stories could be more believable.
A fascinating thing to surmise.
And
Fascinating.
I don't think anybody's ever made this connection. And I think this was the first time at Denver Comic-Con that connection was made, that there's maybe
quite
a real
easy,
basis.
quite plausible for Tolkien to have had access to that type of knowledge.
The La Brea tar pits didn't exist at the time. There were very few dinosaur museums
Indeed.
because the dinosaur paleontology was so active at the time. This is when stuff was getting discovered. No one knew what a Brontosaurus was or a Dimetrodon was yet. This was all stuff being discovered. We take it for granted now because you and I grew up with this. But Tolkien would have been at the forefront of discovery in one of the only universities in the world that was at the forefront of discovery at the time he was writing.
Wow, brilliant.
You should have seen the reactions of fans in the audience when we started putting these pieces together, and people were realizing, holy moly, there's a real connection here.
That's very exciting.
It was one of the
cool.
most wonderful panels I've ever been a part of.
I'm so glad, man, that you experienced that. And at the same time, aching with jealousy. Geek jealousy that I didn't get to go. So sorry I missed it, man. Next year, I'll definitely have to make a detour to Denver Comic-Con, knowing that it's such a cool event.
It was amazing.
That's really cool.
It was worth going. It was worth going because not only were our friends wedded there, and the folks in Denver are so wonderful and quiet, and it's kind of the American home of dinosaurs. But the fact is, we did all these new panels of the history of the One Ring, and the Happy Hobbits had their panel, and the dinosaur thing, and then the Hobbit preview with Sylvester. It was just became a magical convention, and open Middle Earth open mic. It was just kind of a magical. Every convention is unique, isn't it? Like Dragon Con is different from San Diego, and in some ways it's better. In some ways it's very unique.
Yes.
But also New York Comic Con is very unique. It's got a New York sensibility with a pub crawl, pub moot. Every convention is different for us, but this one was really fun.
Excellent. Nothing could be further off the Richter scale than the level of my geek envy right now. I'm glad you had a good time.
No, I don't.
Glad you had a good time.
I don't believe you.
No, believe me. I mean, the FantasyCon itself is just around the corner.
2 weeks.
2 weeks
July
away.
4th weekend.
And
in
that's
Salt
going
Lake.
to be a particularly huge event. And you don't want to be feeling the geek jealousy that I'm feeling now. You want to be there. You guys want to be there.
It's huge.
It's gonna
Not
be
only is
fantastic.
Elijah Wood showing up, he's DJing the opening party.
That's
DJ
gonna
Elwood.
That's going to be real kick-ass.
DJ Elwood in front of a Tolkien
Real
audience.
kick-ass. That's going to be so great. He's going to need special security to get in and out of the building. Of course.
A full
That's gonna be great.
reunion of the Hobbits.
Billy is coming back to Los Angeles. He said he'd be willing to come and talk with us. Maybe we can find out when Billy's in town, and we can get him to come here maybe next Tuesday.
That would be great.
I'm going to check with Billy because he's going to be here in L.A. ahead of his, scheduled appearance at Salt Lake
What
City.
if we all drive to Salt Lake together? Wouldn't
With
that
Billy,
be fun?
I'm down. I'm totally down
Road
for
trip with
that. Okay.
Pip
That sounds great.
or Mary?
That sounds lovely.
Wait, he was Pip.
Billy Boyd? You don't know who Billy Boyd played.
Hold on!
Smack
Hold on!
you down.
Wait!
Mary Doc Brandybuck was played by Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, because they both
Bam!
have M's in their names. That's how I remembered it.
Peri-
Dominic, Mary. Dom, Mary. M.
Peregrine Took, also known as Pippin Took, he was played by Billy Boyd.
PB.
Mac-
Peregrine Billy.
Mac-
Peregrine
Smack.
Billy. Yeah, that's what I said. I originally
Ah.
said Pip.
Pip.
That'd be a fun road trip through the desert.
By the way, yes, it would be a fun road trip to the desert. Time for Justin to improve his recovery time. This is
boy.
so good to have the live chat room working. It aches my heart when I can't have a live chat with my audience and I try to do the live show without you. But here you guys are. And look, it's Pete, Northrunner. Hello, Pete has
Everybody's
joined the
in
room. All of our friends are here. The name is Ionwi, is it? The name is Ionwi. Oh, wow. Hello, everybody. Is Pippin coming next week? It is not confirmed.
We've reached out to
I've
people
reached
that
out to
are
Billy.
coming to SoCal.
Look, he's on Twitter right now. I'm gonna send him a message right now.
Thor's
Hey,
here.
Billy, what you doing?
Thor's here.
You know what? Thor? Well, Thor is always with us. Yeah, in spirit, if not actually in
Yes.
name. Let's see what kind of new messages we have. Did you download the new Twitter client for
No.
iPhone?
I have not.
It has updated itself and updated itself.
So,
Oh, look what I've got here. There's a message, but it's from B Cake. And the last message we had from him was,
from BK.
I will be in LA in the next week or so. How are you? That's what Billy said. Okay, he said, I'll be in LA in the next week or so.
Oh, see,
So I'm definitely going to follow up with him.
I hang with dinosaurs and you hang with hobbits. Seems appropriate.
Drat.
It's super fun. So Denver was awesome. It was made possible by our friends at the Best West Denver Southwest, the Dino Hotel. Did you see it when we were there last year? They were still under construction, but they were building out a lobby of dino artifacts.
Were they?
And
Oh, cool.
And they have a dino bar, Paleo Joe's. It's their name of their restaurant and bar area.
Paleo
It's-
Joe's.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
fun.
wonderful. It's a great meetup place. We had a meetup on Friday, and then on Saturday night, you know who had a meetup at the same location? Matt Inman, The Oatmeal. You know that cartoon, The Oatmeal? It's a web comic with little bubbly characters and stuff like that. If you look up The Oatmeal, you'll probably be familiar with Matt Inman. But he was there, and it
That's
was
cool.
it was a wonderful conversation, and we had a great time catching up, and it was
Very
good.
cool.
Yeah. So check out Best West Denver Southwest
Well,
on Facebook and Twitter.
Denver was really good to me last time I was there, and I bet
Yeah.
they were very happy to see you come back again.
It was super good. I
And
love that town, and it's so beautiful.
It
It's
is lovely.
At eastern edge of the Rocky Mountains
Beautiful mountains.
in Colorado. You've got
Do you always hear the opening interstitial music for South Park when you see the Colorado range?
yes.
Cut to
I hear John Denver actually.
Cut to
anytime I
Eric
think
Cartman
of-
doing something ridiculous, or cut to Stan, doing something ridiculous, or Mr. Slave, and
Oh, dear.
and are various other characters from South Park, which is...
Doesn't the oatmeal make the book How to Know If Your Cat Is Trying to Kill You? That's
that's Matt Inman. Oh, then I know Matt Inman. Then I know him,
Yeah.
He's very cool.
That is...
That's great stuff.
So he was there at the same hotel. It was super fun. You know, their hotel, their pool is like a dino shaped and stuff. It's just so wonderful.
A dinosaur-shaped pool?
Yeah.
You guys should have seen this Jurassic World nutbag going nuts
I can't
at
wait.
Denver Comic Con. He was going cray.
I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. You can text us at 530-64-FRODO. Frodo. I don't know those numbers, but it says on your keypad. 530-64-FRODO. Text us. But you know what else?
I'm sending Billy Boyd a message. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm asking him...
The only person more important than you, the audience, right now, during our live show, is Billy.
I'm responding to Mr. Boyd because I want to find out if we can talk with him. We might schedule some kind of a special session of a live chat with him. If he's available. It might not match up with next Tuesday at 5 p.m., but we're going to find out when he's available.
Always had special sessions and made me the guy I am today. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Lordy.
You know, Northerner in the chat room says, I was in the real South Park. I think they hate the show because I couldn't find a single reference to the show. I looked in all the gift shops, no posters, no nothing. 2003. That was in 2003. Well, guess what, Northerner? Pete, last year, during the Road to Dragon Con, we actually stopped in South Park, Colorado.
You did?
Yeah, with Doug. And guess what? They have a huge wood cutout of the South Park characters with Cartman's face cut out so you can put your head where Cartman's face is. So that is like at the entrance of the town. So South Park, Colorado is now all in on...
No, they're totally in on the branding with that.
Yes, they've got the characters permanently displayed.
Permanently displayed and the gates to the city were given to Matt Parker and Trey Stone, I'm sure.
So
I'm not fat, I'm big boned. Just so you know.
Do we think the trailer is going to come before Comic-Con? I'm holding out hope that it does. I think it'll drop any day now. I think we'll get a teaser trailer before Comic-Con and then at Comic-Con.
No.
And you know what has happened in the last 2 years?
What?
At Comic-Con? Peter Jackson has scheduled his ADR trip to London the same week.
Yes.
So we're hearing whispers now that Peter Jackson is scheduling a trip to London the week of Comic-Con, and guess when you fly from New Zealand to London, there's a stopover in San Diego.
Oh yes, there always is a stopover on the West Coast before going further.
So
that's excellent.
So that's where we caught up with him a couple years ago, where you got the scoop that there 2 movies was going to be 3 movies.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, what a scoop that was.
So there's a chance, we're hearing whispers that Peter Jackson might be booking travel the week of Comic-Con, which means...
Oh my gosh, very exciting.
We might have wonderful stuff to bask in the glory at San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to be super good.
That is very good. Very good indeed.
Yeah, we're going to have super fun. But before San Diego, there's going to be FantasyCon. But before FantasyCon, guess what else we launched?
Yes.
We did. We made the big announcement in front of a big old room.
Yes, you did.
At Denver Comic Con.
And the crowd responded with?
It's nothing but positive support. It's
excellent.
Fantastic. So we just hit it live. We haven't tweeted it out. We haven't put out the press release yet. This was just to give everybody in Denver a heads up on our new project. And so Kelly and Alex were there, and so we're ready to announce that we're gonna do a sequel to Ringers, a spiritual sequel to Ringers.
More specifically, not a sequel to Ringers, but
a spiritual sequel,
a follow-up to a fan conversation that really deserves a strong, clear look, a look that will explain lots of details at different forces that are going on. Are we ready to show this?
Yeah, and so
I'm excited to show this to you guys.
We're happy to help Kelly and Alex, and we've also got the Hillywood Show girls involved, and several other wonderful people involved in Fangirls, A Ringer's Tale. It's on Indiegogo. If you just go to Indiegogo and search for Fangirls, it's right there.
Yes, indeed.
You'll see this logo. So. That was one of our big announcements at Denver. and we're happy to help. Guide some of these filmmakers. You can throw it back.
Very nice.
We're happy to help some of these, young filmmakers, because you've done a documentary or two. I've done a few documentaries in Star Wars space, and bring our knowledge of the filmmaking process and documentary process, and help guide our new filmmakers as they bring a new look at fandom. I think it's going to be fun. And we've got there's some great rewards on the Indiegogo page.
It's going to be so fun.
So,
you guys are one of the first to hear about it.
Yeah.
Outside of the audience at Denver Comic Con.
And it's not TheOneRing, and it's not Sony Pictures, and
it's not.
It's a totally independent thing from everybody else.
Indeed.
That's why it's
said,
not
yes.
called Ringers 2. It's just kind of a spiritual sequel to everything we've done before.
Well, yeah. There's to be intellectually consistent with this conversation we started in Ringers, we're actually going to talk about gender bias in the fantasy and science fiction world. How fascinating will it be when we sit down with Philippa Boyens and Fran Walsh, hopefully, and get to talk with them. I hope they grant us the interview that I want to get with them, and talk about what it's like being in a traditional world where fantasy and sci-fi was always governed by the tastes of men, by film executives who were male, and trying to be a female creative in that kind of a world. It's a fascinating story.
Well, and not only that, Evangeline Lilly is the only girl in a boys movie. What a powerful role that is. Arwen, how did it feel for Liv Tyler to play Arwen, go through all the battle scenes, and then get cut out of any action sequence?
Did you say Angelina Jolie a moment ago earlier?
Evangeline Lilly.
Evangeline. Yeah, you said Angelina Jolie, and I thought you were talking about some other movie for a second.
Evangeline Lilly, Angelina Jolie is another person
Evangeline Lilly.
we want to talk to.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly, as the Tauriel character,
that's right,
has been literally injected into the story by the force of will of female writers who realized that there were no female characters that were serviceable of any kind in The Hobbit. So the whole conversation is so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
From a socio-political perspective, and from a marketing perspective, and from a fan perspective. As a fan, I always wondered why certain treatment of characters in the Dungeons and Dragons show back in the 80s was done a certain way. Well, the complete opposite of that was seeing how Peter S. Beagle treated his female characters in The Last Unicorn, which, came out not far around the same generation. And, it is really interesting.
So,
it's going to be such a great movie. Hope that you guys can be there to support us. Go check out our Indiegogo page.
And it's coming from the perspective of, the happy hobbits and the Hillywood, a few of these girls at the forefront of fandom right now.
Yes, indeed.
And the reaction, we saw this at Comic-Con. We saw this at the premiere even, when little girls and their families were coming up to say hi to Kelly and Alex, from around the world, Russian, German, Chinese, everywhere. And then I saw it even more here at Denver Comic-Con, where just tons of fangirls were just like, you mean so much to me, and you represent, everything that it means to be a fangirl. So there's something really interesting happening. And of course, you've seen all the controversial blog posts on Jezebel and the Mary Sue about the Bechdel test, and what
the Bechdel test used to be something that was so underground, no one even knew what it was outside of the LGBT community. Now everybody on every political and social level talks about the Bechdel test in terms of how strong female characters are written and presented in today's narrative films and TV shows as well.
So we're gonna help tell this story because we've done a few movies before, and
yes, we have.
We're
this is fascinating,
and we've got some wonderful friends from Vidali Jewelry and Shapeways.
The link no longer works. Well,
so
they're saying the link to the Indiegogo page no longer works.
If you just go to, it's on Indiegogo.
I bet you it's
search for Fangirls.
Is it hidden?
They've just redesigned the Indiegogo page.
Oh, okay.
Like they redesigned their whole site and logo. So
so we'll have to incorporate a correct link in that graphic.
It's changed a bit, but
we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So it's.
I'm excited. I'm excited as all get out
to make this happen.
to be working with Kelly Rice, the author of Darkling, and co-star of the Happy Hobbit, delicious podcast series. I'm excited to be working with you, with Dennis Prozawa, the guy who did Starwood,
and Jam, the roller derby documentary that won Sundance and went to Cannes.
Oh yeah,
so he
cool.
did a whole documentary about what it means to be
a girl in a boy's room.
That's right, and that's what roller derby is.
That's totally what roller derby is. Yeah.
So
fantastic.
So I think we've put together. We have a team of people that have been there and done this before and know how to do it the best it can be done. And I think this is going to have the treatment it deserves, and we're happy to help.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It will, and we are very happy to actually make this happen.
And we're outside of the Sony pictures, and this is not a OneRing thing. This is just our of personal pet project.
That's right. It is.
If people want, I think people want to see this movie, and if they do, they'll help make it happen on Indiegogo. So that's what it is. So we did a lot of stuff. We talked dinosaurs at Denver. We talked new projects. We talked The Hobbit spoilers with Sylvester McCoy, and we found our very first description of DAIN IRONFOOT.
That's so exciting.
We've heard whispers and rumors of lots of other fun stuff, so it's going to be a real treat. The next 6 weeks are going to be just like the old days of fandom, where every day could be an awesome.
Riding into battle on a wild boar.
It's going to be super good. So
I've always wondered why the characters in Westeros, in Game of Thrones world,
I've never seen it.
They don't. You've never read it or ever seen it, have you?
Read it.
Please. I wonder why they don't ride on their dire wolves. I mean, we have goblins in Tolkien's legends that ride upon wargs because they have alliances and allegiances with the wargs, and orcs and goblins seem to get along with them. But in Westeros, nobody rides on a dire wolf. That just never ever happens.
Question: why is Thor in the middle? Because we could have we're missing out on because we don't have Radagast.
We need a proper magazine stand to put.
Would you rather have Enid?
I love Enid. I love Ghost World.
You like Ghost World? Dan Klaus?
Yeah, he's cool. He's from Chicago.
Dan Klaus not only did Enid, but he Ghost World, but he drew the Meltdown logo.
Yes, he did. The very famous Meltdown logo.
So we like Enid.
Marvel's, because if he wasn't, Cliff would have wings behind his head again.
Yes, that was super
That's
fun.
right. I did a whole show with wings coming out of the back. That you guys had a laugh with me at that one.
Thank you for the link, Ari. This is super good.
There you go. Nice link. There it is, Ari. Very good.
Well, I'm sorry you missed Denver. I think you would have had a blast. It was such a unique, interesting, wonderful, in its own way convention.
That's excellent. I saw some great Instagrams. I saw some great images from tweets from you folks there. It was great to see the coverage.
Amazing cosplay there. Amazing cosplay.
I bet. Yeah. Well, I'll try to make up for it, and I'll do whatever I can to see if I can come to FantasyCon at Salt Lake City.
Did you see the picture that we posted on our Twitter and Facebook of Gandalf checking his walking stick at weapons check? And I was yelling from where I took the picture. I was yelling at him, Gandalf, don't check your walking stick. Don't deprive an old man of his old walking stick. Yeah. And everyone, and then as soon as I said that, everyone laughed in the whole place. It was
that's very funny.
It was good. But thank you to our hosts at Denver Comic Con for giving us the opportunity to talk Tolkien with the fans. It was super good. Thanks to Dr. Bob and Greg and Matt, everybody at the Morrison Natural History Museum. That was super fun. You got to get there one of these days. I know you're going to freak out if you get to that museum.
I would enjoy that.
You'll freak out.
I would totally love that.
So
we're ready. Are we ready to say farewell this evening?
Yeah.
Do you want to show the Hobbit trailer again?
Yeah. Can we show the Hobbit trailer? That was a good way to start the show.
Ridiculous.
So
a ridiculous way to end the show. We have the Hobbit trailer.
So yeah, let's.
No, we don't.
We'll leave you with the.
We've been had.
We'll leave you with the Hobbit trailer. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
He's got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah.
If you believe it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, thank you very much for joining our live webcast. We do our very best to be here rock solid 5 p.m. Tuesday.
And you saw it live. If Billy Boyd shows up, you saw it here first. The invite went out. This is how we book our guests.
This is
live
how we
on
book
the
our
show.
Guests.
We book our guests live on the show. So that's how it's done. So he's texting back with Billy. If this happens, you saw it here. You saw the booking here. But until next week, Torn Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, live from Hollywood Meltdown Comics, home of Nerdist and everything else.
Follow me on Twitter at QuickBeam2000.
Sure, follow him.
And follow everyone at TheOneRingNet. Follow us on our Facebook timeline and share it with your friends. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us every week.
And here's the Hobbit trailer.